Welcome to Quantum Kinetics First Diffusion Season 2, Episode 8. I'm here with
Randal Bird, the President and Chief Operating Officer of Quantum Kinetics Corporation.
It's great to have you on, Randal. So what are we talking about today?
Well, today we're going to talk about strawberritas first.
Yeah. Here they are, buddy.
Bring it up and let's have a look.
Strawberrita.
Strawberritas. This is McKane makes these. These are excellent.
Sorry, I jumped in early. It was really...
Oh, yeah. Smooth. Very good. As always, sir. As always.
It's noon somewhere.
Yep. All right. So, first of all, I wanted to do a couple of things. We got some fun stuff we're going to cover today. And we're wrapping up season 2 today. So this is kind of a little bit of a celebration, a little reflection, a lot of thanks. And I mean, a lot of thanks to you, our audience members. Holy cow. We have a lot of humble gratitude for you folks. We're seeing now that we have 327,000 subscribers. And just since I was in on episode 4, we were just about ready to break 250,000.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's a lot of people tuning in more and more.
Mm-hmm.
We love it. And thank you all, every single one of you. We're also thankful that we got our results in from the recent documentary. And man, that has now eclipsed almost up to 450,000. We know that this will probably hit 500,000.
Oh, yeah. It'll hit 500,000 probably by next weekend.
Yeah. You know, that's no small thing.
No,
I think that's.
Did you notice?
I'm going to hit that again.
Did you notice?
Come on, man.
Oh, thank you, everyone. Did you notice that if you watch the documentary, there's like 4 different segments of commercials embedded into it?
Yeah, that's because they know a good thing when they see it, and they're starting to leverage our success a little bit. Thank you for that, by the way, Mr. YouTube and Google.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so I want to also acknowledge the terrific episodes that Jason and Brighton have been putting in. These have been entertaining. It fits with this season 2. So as I think about this, as we're closing out season 2, do a little bit of a wrap, kind of a reflection. This was some excellent work. These guys came in, and I just want everybody to know we do one take. That's it. We just sit down, record it. We're done. We don't sit there and have a lot of editing or any of this to do. We clean up the sound and maybe some of the imagery, but that's how we roll. And so, again, a great job by these guys. And McKane, thank you again for bringing me back on today, and it's always an honor and a pleasure.
It's a Randal Bird sandwich with these podcasts. You come in the beginning, and then you finish them off, and then we put it all together. It's the Randal Bird sandwich.
All right, well, let's put some extra flavor into it today, shall we?
A little Dijon mustard.
Yeah, absolutely. Just get going just right. Beginning here with, we're going to take it to a discussion today, and this is going to be a little bit of adventure for some of the folks, but come along with us. We're going to talk about Russell Bobbit today. Mm-hmm. And there's a reason for that. Now, Russell has a distinct connection with Disney and Marvel. And that is relevant because part of our story is intertwined with some of his imagination and creation. Mm-hmm. And we want to kind of celebrate him and celebrate this. And then there's a little bit of fun that happened along the way. And we want to get into that a little bit too. So without further ado, let's take it on.
So just for the audience, just to back up a little bit about Russell Bobbit. Russell Bobbit has been in the Hollywood movie industry for many years. And he's been on multiple shoots, multiple different, venues and films. And he was commissioned back in 2007 or 8 to create a prop for Marvel Disney for a new movie coming out called Iron Man. And it's the Iron Man Arc Reactor. He actually did the Mark I and the Mark II and the Mark III. And he also did the design of the original that was in the cave. Mm-hmm. When he had to get the shrapnel away from his heart and whatnot. So Russell Bobbit is he's a guru prop master, and he's still working. And so last week, funny story.
You're going to get ahead of me. You're jumping ahead on my...
Sorry. And so Russell, basically, he's the one who came up with the original Arc Reactor design. And then what I did was I was trying to patent the electronics for cold nuclear fusion. And my patent agent or lawyer said, you need to like actually make something that wraps your electronics around it, right? And so I was like, okay, well, I was looking through the internet, like Stellarator's, Z-Pinch, Tokamaks. And I'm just looking through Google for, quote, nuclear fusion reactors. And I stumbled across a picture of the Arc Reactor. And as I saw it on the internet, I was examining it. And I looked at the coils, I looked at the way they're designed and the electrodes, and I'm like, holy moly, that's perfect. Like, that design is exactly helps the patent. Even the lights, like the LED lights underneath it that flash up into the voltage zones, it matches perfectly with the water processing fusion that we have. And so I just had that whisperer come back again, say you should go buy the $40 toy. And then so I wrapped the electronics around it and then got it patented, sent it to the patent office, and they're like, oh yeah, we already kind of know about that and you can have it, but go teach the world and tell everyone about nuclear fusion. And so we've just been doing everything from the very beginning of this, Randall. It's always been whatever the universe tells you to do, go do it. If it's someone who says that you're working with, go do it. If it's a patent officer that says, go teach the world, we're just going and doing everything we're told to do here. Mm-hmm. And it's like we're tearing a torch, or, like in Halo, you captured the flag in the video game when you're doing multiplayer, and you're running out of the castle to get it back to the other side. And now everyone's got guns at you, shooting at you. Stop. No, don't take the bananas. Don't take the flag.
That's a great analogy.
So we're trying to get as many people in to like protect the flag bearer.
Yeah.
Back to base.
That's actually a great analogy. So
that's what it feels like.
Yeah. Okay. So let's talk a little bit more about Russell's background and influence on shaping some of the most iconic pieces. And you kind of touched on this a little bit. What else has he contributed in the Iron Man or the Marvel realm that you can talk about?
Yeah, he's done, like Guardians of the Galaxy. He's done, like Thor. He's done pretty much every prop that you could possibly imagine in Disney for the Marvel universe. He's done it, touched it, been involved with it. And so he's kind of like the point man for his team. And he works in LA and then he works in Atlanta and, he's just all over the place. And he is an amazing human being. I got to meet him for a wedding last week, which we'll talk about.
Yeah.
It's kind of serendipitous, actually. But anyway, going back to Russell Bobbit, he's the man, period.
Yeah. And we all benefit from that in our enjoyment. If you're into the franchise of Iron Man and a few of these other things, we salute you, Russell. Mm-hmm. So this kind of talks about the irony a little bit of Iron Man and Arc Reactor coming in, and how you interacted initially with Russell to kind of take the handing of the torch a little bit. Do you want to kind of walk us through a little bit about how you met him and a little bit of that torch handing for the Arc Reactor, as you alluded to, that those patents started to move our way too?
So as soon as we got the patent and it was granted, I was meditating one night and I was thinking, what am I supposed to do with this huge thing, this patent on the Arc Reactor? What am I supposed to do? So I'm meditating and I had this vision of one of my old clients. His name's Greg from pole vaulting. And I got along really well with him and we were good friends. And so I just was like, I'm going to text Greg. And so I text Greg in the middle. It was like 11:30 at night. I text him. I was like, Greg, hope you're doing well. Check this out. I just got the patent on the Arc Reactor and it's a nuclear fusion reaction. And it was 11 o'clock at night, 11:30, and he texts me back right away. And by the way, that's really late in Atlanta. Oh, yeah. And he goes, oh my gosh, I'm dating Russell Bobbit's daughter. I'm dating his daughter. And I'm like, wait, you're dating the guy that made the Arc Reactor? And he's like, yeah. And so it was just super serendipitous that it's almost like the universe was telling me to reach out, and I did it. And then Greg, my good friend, was like, hey, we got to get you a Zoom call with Russell right away. Are you available next weekend? And I said, yeah, for sure. And we didn't actually meet that next weekend, and we met that on Monday, on Sunday after Sunday. And the reason why is because Russell Bobbit had to go meet with somebody else, which I don't really want to talk about, but he went and met someone to talk about the fact that I got the Arc Reactor cold nuclear fusion patent. And that conversation I can't talk about, but they did talk about it, and something very interesting happened. So when I talked to Russell on Zoom, he was like, man, Ron, we knew that someone was going to figure it out. We were hoping someone would figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of already had the suspicion that this was very special, and we knew that we loved the way that it touched like children's creative imagination. Because when they saw the movie, I mean, the merchandise sold like crazy, the Arc Reactors, because it resembles this. It's kind of like it's hinting at it. It's like, hey, there's something very special about this. And when Russell Bobbit first made this and put it on his bench at his workshop, and he first created it, when he lit this thing up, he said to us on the Zoom call that when he saw this for the first time light up, he said, oh my God, that is so special. And that's what he thought. And that's what he was thinking. Because he's absolutely right. It has every single nuclear fusion type of reactor built inside of it. And when he was designing it, he was going for a circular fusion, like a stellarator, but it was compact and small. Particle accelerator type.
Enough to power a very special suit.
Yes, the Iron Man suit. And so when he made this, he was very shocked and surprised. And actually, when they actually did the one that was like in the movie, let's turn this back on. When it was in the movie, the LED lights were so bright when they put it on Robert Downey Jr.'s chest, it burned his chest. Actually, it was so hot. The LEDs.
So tell me a little bit about your conversation with Russell, because there's this question that would linger a little bit about what was the depth of his knowledge or his ability to ascertain that this was a connection to what the physics world was trying to do, that he could embrace that and kind of translate that over to Hollywood. Yeah. How did he get into some of the depth of his understanding, or was he just kind of shooting a little bit in the dark? Or
he was doing a little bit of both. He was basically, he is an electronics guy. Like, he loved Radio Shack and he loved playing with soldering, and he just likes doing that stuff.
He sounds like a prop guy that way.
Yeah, very much ham radio type of guy, right?
Okay.
You know, kind of a lost, you know, flavor art, you know, like
it is.
Ham radio stuff. And,
right.
And so he just took his knowledge of like electronics and just made this thing with like a laser cutter, like, and just did like a lathe, and he just let his creativity run wild, and he made this. And though he didn't know how to do the electronics of the coil wrapping and the, you know, pulsing and all that, the design itself, in terms of the way the electrons shoot out with a ballistic action, and the way the rings rotate and make a torus, and then the coils wrapped around causing the electrons to deflect, the whole thing of it is absolutely stunningly awesome.
Yeah. So also, scroll ahead a little bit, and you've placed this into the device, and had a revelation that electron capture is happening in there.
Very good.
There's not shooting out of anything. It's actually doing probably more what I think he would have imagined it could do versus shielding like the top or something.
Yeah.
It's got to have something a little different in the real world to fit into something like that and actually function.
Yeah.
So that must have been very cool to have that conversation with him and explain electron capture.
Yeah, he's actually asked that questions like, okay, you figured it out. Tell me how it works. That's what he said, like on the Zoom. He's like, tell me how it works. And so I was like, basically, it just sucks electrons from air, water, gas, anything that has electrons. Even the vacuum of space has electrons too. And it just sucks in the electrons, and it just pulls it into the circuit. And then it basically powers your LEDs, and it powers whatever load you have on it. And it literally is science fiction meets reality, because if you read like the Wikipedia on the Arc Reactor for Marvel, it's a nuclear fusion reactor that draws in energy.
Yes, the Science Magazine Wikipedia.
Yeah, well, they have like a Marvel wiki that you can go on and read. That
okay,
has like
well, yeah, and I'm just messing around a little bit. So with that, and telling him more about what this was, what was his reaction? I mean, surely he had to say, did he want to see it, or did he want to, like, I want to play with that because that could make a real suit, actually, correct?
Yes, I mean, we can design it to be a full-powered device that has, basically 500 watts to 1,000 watts of output energy. We can totally do that.
And can you propel a suit? And can you, the propulsors and the blasters, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, all that stuff is, and here's where the audience needs to understand that this is why this movement is so cool, is that every single one of us inside, there's a 6-year-old boy or a 6-year-old girl deep down inside of us that believes that things are possible, that the impossible is possible.
Yeah.
And that's what the Arc Reactor design actually means. And that's what Russell Bobbit says. Like, that device represents our childhood dreams of possibilities, of limitless possibility. And that's why it's so amazing that it just happened to be serendipitously part of quantum kinetics movement for nuclear fusion.
Yeah.
So it's kind of just wild that this is happening. It's just wild that this is actually occurring in this space-time continuum right now. And it's just a real honor to be a part of it. And it's so funny too that my friend Greg just recently got married, and he like a year ago, he asked me, do you want to be the officiant for the wedding that Russell Bobbit's going to be at? And I'm like, absolutely, I want to be that. And so this last week, I went down there to Atlanta and got him hitched.
So that actually is a great segue, because I wanted to talk about the wedding next. So a little bit about the people. So Russell Bobbit's daughter, and then Greg, how they met, and then connecting with Greg. Was there some moment there where Russell Bobbit's daughter and Greg had this kind of a spark of their own? He meets Russell, of course, because now he's become intertwined with that family. Yeah. That must have been quite a moment for Greg, honestly, to not only get to meet someone as special as that, and then, connect and fall in love and that kind of thing, but also this realization that Russell Bobbit was the father, and you're a friend, and there's this that had to, for him, that must have been quite a moment to connect that.
Wow, there's a lot to dissect on that one. Let's start with the connection. So when when Greg met Russell's daughter, he was actually going to university, and it was a rainy day in November, and Greg was jumping around in water puddles out in just outside, and he was jumping around being normal Greg. He's a goofy guy, and we love him. And Jordan, Russell Bobbit's daughter, walks by him and is like, "Hey, what are you doing jumping in the puddles over there? What's your name?" And he's like, "I'm Greg. I'm from Washington. I'm from Seattle. I just love the rain." And she was very like stunned by that, because he was just so free and like a child.
Yeah. And
then they started hanging out, and they started talking, and they just fell in love. Like immediately they were just best friends. And that was the point of the speech of the wedding, was that basically best friends can condition themselves to fall in love and be partners, for lifelong and spiritual partners. And when I went down to do the wedding rehearsal, I had a speech all planned, and they helped with that, and I wanted to make it kind of an Iron Man theme speech for Russell Bobbit, because I want to honor him and his work and his life's work. And when I did the rehearsal, and Russell and Tracy were there, and Russell pulls me aside after I did the warm-up speech, and he literally pulls me aside, grabs my arm, and like walks me away, and he goes, "Oh my gosh, your speech, I found 3 references to Iron Man in it, and I love it." And I'm like, very good. And so he was just super appreciative that I was there. Even in his speech to everyone, he was saying, like, "Thank you, McKane, for coming all the way out here and doing what you've done with your fusion and also the movement with the Arc Reactor." So it was a dream come true, really.
That has to be. I mean, to think about that, like you described it earlier, it's a serendipitous connection, not only for him and her, but then for you and him, and then the three brings Russell Bobbit and you together with that as a central theme.
Yeah.
What are the odds, right?
It's like it was meant to be in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And your thought to text, probably that little bit of a change in the...
Well, you mentioned it too, that you have a bit of a tuning fork too about listening to the universe and the collective consciousness and the spirit and all that stuff. So...
Yep, I get a spiritual connection that way for sure. So the setting. So where did this wedding was in Atlanta? Tell us a little bit about how they decided to do their wedding. What did they do it? Was it medieval or what was the theme or kind of the setting for that?
No, it was a normal wedding. It was just in a really cute little church out in Atlanta, and it was the Daisy Hill Church Center, and they had food, and it was beautiful, and there were flowers everywhere, and there was a little pond outside, and they had it was like a mini gazebo thingy out there, a wall, and we just walked in, and it was a beautiful day, and around noon o'clock, and we'll be doing B-roll pictures of it, but it was just like during the speech that I gave, I had a couple people come up afterwards as we were having drinks in the sun, and they said, McKane, that was an amazing presentation speech, and it's moving. Like even the family members came over, and actually Russell Bobbit's mom started dancing with me as the music was playing, and I had a great time with that family. That family is absolutely amazing, and it was great to be a part of it, really.
Yeah. What a blessing for you. Okay, so another thing I wanted to talk to you about, and as much as you are able to divulge, sure, is a little bit about, he took you into Russell Bobbit's lair.
It's basically like, when you're a prop master, you have to have all the tools. You have to have all the 3D printers. You got to have all the tools at your disposal to get the props made, right? So he works in LA typically, but he also works a little bit in Atlanta. So he took me into his lair, and I can't tell you everything, but my gosh, like I literally was on my knees, like touching things and like asking questions. And it was like being at it was like a Marvel candy store.
I was going to say this had to be the kid in the candy store moment, because in case any of you who have been following along with this aren't aware, that is McKane's bread and butter, is Marvel, and Iron Man in particular is kind of his thing.
We were there till like 1:30 in the morning, and we had a wedding the next morning. And I was like, "Can I stay? I want to stay." And he's like, "Dude, we got to get going." And so it was like I couldn't get pulled away from it, and it was like, "We got to go." And I'm like, "Oh, darn it, okay." But so it was super awesome. I don't want to say too much because I don't want to, I want to keep his, it's like his is bat cave, right?
Nobody gets into the lair that doesn't belong in the lair.
Yeah, so. The bat cave is the bat cave, right?
Yeah. And so Russell probably has this idea now about what the future looks like. Oh. I got to believe he's jazzed for what we're doing, and has he expressed any interest in, quantum kinetics as part of any of his plans for the future?
When he was driving me back to the car from the lair, and it was just him and I in the car, I said, "Hey, what do you think about this movement of nuclear fusion and transmutating radioactive waste at Hanford and all that?" And he said, "McKane," because I asked him, I was like, "Do you think Hollywood would be interested in this story or whatever?" And he looked at me and goes, "McKane, this story that you have right now is bigger than Hollywood by a factor of 10. And so I don't think he's saying no, but what he's also saying is that this movement is massive. And for what I was thinking was that if Hollywood could get in and help out and do a story about this and like make it part of the collective consciousness story, that we'll never ever forget. The civilization of the human race will never forget the importance of the Arc Reactor as our childhood dream finally coming to life. And that is a really potent story that will never be forgotten. It's like if you were if you were Mesopotamian and you were like, I'm going to make a clay tablet and I'm going to roll 1,000 of these clay tablets of the story of creation or something that's important so nobody forgets.
Yeah.
That is something that I think is very important for Hollywood and everyone to understand, that this cold nuclear fusion has never gotten this far before in history. And it is at a very shaky time right now where it can be swatted down by naysayers and haters and people with bad intent. It really can be. But it is important for everyone to understand that this is your tech because deep down inside you believe.
And there will be those in the doubters who haven't even crossed over to the idea that this is a potential solution that are already saying this sounds pompous to say that, it sounds arrogant. But what they don't know is if you see this and you run the tests and you see the results from the national labs, our breakthrough is coming. I don't know if we can talk at all about what's ahead for us in this next little while, other than to say we have some new potential. And we're excited.
Yeah, like I said in the last podcast, essentially is that this movement goes nowhere without you guys. The baton has gotten to a point where it's never gone before. And without anyone else's help coming in to push it further, it's not going to go anywhere. And the naysayers know that too. But the people that could benefit from this greatly need to know that this is your tech and it is here for you now. And this is the best shot possible for it to actually take off and make a huge difference in your lives.
Okay, so we keep saying we want you to get involved. We want you to, be a part of this movement and so forth. Let's outline a couple of ideas of how that involvement might look to a casual observer watching on YouTube, or anybody who's a little more inspired and says, look, I don't know if I'm marching down the street and organizing rallies for safe nuclear fusion or what. Give me some ideas of where you kind of think this could go.
Well, I mean, there's when you're carrying the Halo flag back to the camp and the bad guys are shooting at you and they're throwing grenades at you and they're trying to, hit you with plasma rifle or whatever. There's things that other people can do, like you can subscribe to the channel. That's a big hit. That's a good move. And then you can buy merchandise now on our, because we're part of YouTube partnership program. You can buy merch. That helps too.
And what's our new slogan on those?
Cold neutrons are hot. Which, by the way, that's your you might want to talk about how awesome of a slogan maker you are, because you came up with that during a board meeting minutes, and I was like, we're putting that on their t-shirts.
You know what? That is one of those things that it comes in a second. I don't even have to conjure it up. It just pops in there, and there we have a slogan. It's always been that way for me. I told you I won the United States Soccer Federation chant contest.
Yeah, you want to tell the audience about how much of a baller you are?
Just briefly. So back in 2001, U.S. Soccer Federation has a contest for entry to write the official chant for the U.S. Soccer Federation. And I've been getting the emails from the Federation all summer long, keeping up with the team and the activities and schedule for stuff. But I noticed down in the bottom this link.
A tiny font.
Well, it wasn't real big, and I was a little surprised, but Philips Electronics had come on as an official sponsor, and they were putting out this U.S. Stadium chant contest. And I looked again, and it was like, today is the last day you can enter. And I kind of look at my watch, and I thought, it must be the East Coast time. I better hurry, because it's 25 words or less. It describes what, embodies American soccer passion, and kind of it's got to stick with that and make it kind of a rah-rah thing. So 25 words or less, and I write this thing in 3 minutes. And it's, again, this is how it comes to me. It just pops in. I'm not sitting there.
It's like wave energy just pulsing in your brain.
Not doing a lot of purposeful crafting. It comes into my head. I write it down. I send it in, and I forget about it. And then a month later, I'm at work, and my phone rings, and I'm looking. I don't recognize this number. It's from New York City. And but I answer it, and it was the legal firm representing the U.S. Soccer Federation's marketing arm or whatever they are. And they said, we're going to send you an affidavit form, and you send it back, and we will put out a press release declaring you the grand prize winner of the U.S. Stadium Chant Contest. And I start I'm gracious. I do what I need to get the info to them and back to them. And I hang up and I start laughing. And it's like, I can't believe I won this. This was like 3 minutes of effort on the last day, probably at the closing window before they cut it off. And it won. And I won a Philips, what was then their kind of state-of-the-art home theater system. It was the first generation HD. And so it was just one of those moments where you realize sometimes when things pop into your head,
you just do it.
And that's an encouragement to anyone out there, because again, I'm not in this chair because of how well I thought it through. Well, and I mean that in a good way.
Remember, like, your friends have always told you that you're kind of a luck. You're like, everything that you do or get involved with, it just kind of works out.
Yeah. Charmed life is what it's been called a few times.
And when you told me that, and then we started working together and pushing this cold nuclear fusion movement forward with quantum kinetics, I started noticing things were actually happening. It's like, the way I look at it as the CEO of QKC is that I look at Randal as like our luck dragon, like from the Neverending Story, like Falcor. He's got to get to the edge of the boundaries of Fantasia. He's got to stop the nothingness. And you came in, and the company was actually in the pit of sorrows. Like, we were going under. We had a bunch of people that had screwed us over real bad. And we were like, we're screwed. It's going to end right now. Like, all our patents, we're going to lose control of the patents. We're going to lose control of the trademarks. You came in, everything changed. We're pushing forward. We're putting pressure on everyone out there to change and do it right. And I just want to thank you so much for bringing your luck, your energy, your positivity to the movement.
I thank the man upstairs too, because that's the one who's brought me in and takes it every day, one day at a time, one prayer at a time. So this is really kind of a movement of the people. And what we have found is we do see people trying to get involved or wanting to get involved. And the way that McKane has described this, we do encourage you to kind of follow into this. We move forward in part because of you. So that kind of answers that. I did ask how, and I think you did a good job of answering.
Yeah, there's tiers, right? There's like, you can subscribe, you can do merge, but there's also the big players too, like the politicians and like the private sector and even the public sector. So it's important to know that there is a race to fusion. Like, China's in the race, Europe is in the race, even Canada's in the race. And we have to understand that there is a massive push to figure out cold nuclear fusion, which, by the way, if you're going to do nuclear fusion sustainable for industry, you have to do cold nuclear fusion. There's no other way, because of the vast neutrons destroys everything. And we talked about this with Bryden on episode 6. But you have to understand that if we're going to do nuclear fusion at industry scale, you have to use cold neutrons, period.
Yeah, cold neutrons are indeed hot. Okay, so I do have some things that I want to do. We're kind of started to head toward a wrap, but anything else from season 2 you want to kind of reflect on before we move on into our close? Because I think back to what we started with our purpose in this, and that was to change from season 1 from being highly technical and we wanted in season 2 to be a little bit more personable. We wanted to be a little bit more relatable in content as well. So you get to know us a little bit. You get to relate a little bit less from the heavy science side of it. We hope that we have fulfilled that. We have enjoyed doing these podcasts every time. There's an energy in this room, I got to tell you.
It's really funny because I had a couple like hot fusion guys email me on LinkedIn, and they're like, your YouTube videos suck. And I'm like, what? Like, wow. Okay. Like, thanks guys. Like, but when people are negative like that, it means that we're making an impact.
Well, there's been some others that have told us don't make YouTube videos and tried to shut us down from that simply because they know that this is a potential threat. And this is one of our channels for getting out into the public with a message, wisely so, to choose this path and stay on it.
Yes.
We're very happy about that. So, again, a congrats for season 2.
Hey,
this is
monumental. We're going into season 3.
Yeah, season 3. And,
hot.
And I got to tell you, I got a couple more notes I want to talk about, because you're going to have to open the gate to season 3 with a little teaser spicy intro. Yeah. So I'm gonna.
Do you want to cue me up for that one, or are you gonna do it?
I'm gonna tell you this. We have some good surprises. We have worked in the past with Dana Kipple. And if you don't know Dana, she's really awesome. You should look up her stuff too. She's like the plasma queen. I don't know how to.
Plasma intelligence. She's all about the getting in connection with the plasma and basically the collective consciousness, and empowering your brain to be able to do the things that you possibly can, and not relying on, the negative egocentric energy that draws you down.
Right. And so she's put out a new book. We'll be talking about that when we get with her.
It's really good.
We'll let her kind of put shine on that, but we'd encourage you to watch that episode when it comes. And she had has a lot of followers and a lot of interest coming in. She's been one who helped us early on before we started doing podcasting. And so, we want to honor her for that too, as well.
She may be coming back.
And that's
season
what we're really hoping to get her early in season 3. And then we've got another potential guest lined up, high potential now, since we've had the conversation and they're very interested. Dr. Maximus, inventor of some incredible tools and technology. Do you want to give us a little teaser on Dr. Maximus?
Yeah, so we talked about him a little bit on episode 6 with Brighton. And he's the guy, he actually used to do nuclear fusion testing. It's called bubble fusion. And so he is basically a technical wizard in software writing, and he is very good at designing nuclear fusion detectors, helium detectors, neutron detectors, gamma ray detectors, and X-ray detectors. So his software package is called Pulse Counter. It integrates into the hardware systems like helium-3 detectors. So you can actually get a very high-level analysis of what your nuclear fusion reactors are doing on your benches. And he is an amazing resource. He's helped many people, not just us. And we want to really support his movement too, because he's kind of a maverick in his own way.
Yeah.
Against
maybe a little like someone else we know.
Well, there's a good movie called Top Gun about a pretty interesting maverick, right?
Yeah, that worked out well too, right?
You're better and worse.
All right, so Dr. Maximus will also be appearing. We're going to do that one by Zoom, I believe, and try to modify the setting a little bit, but bring him in as a special guest as well. There will be a few others. And of course, I imagine we'll get Jason Brighton and myself back on too. So, yeah. But I think we're going to really kind of bring it up another notch for season 3. And I think it's got even greater potential, because I think we've got some irons in the fire that are heating up a little bit.
Yeah. And I think what we're going to do as we get into season 3 is we're going to start turning the volume up a little bit more on the messaging here.
Yeah.
And put a little bit more pressure on people, not just, that's all I'm going to say.
It's all in a good way. We'll just say that, and for good reason too, because we do all want this similar future. I'm going to go back to, before we close, and just remind everybody, we are not a politically bent. We are not religious, monetary, culture. We want everybody.
Science.
Everybody. This is about an umbrella that is going to go over us, that can help every one of us. And McKane has tried very hard with the time he's put in and the years he's put in to bring us to this point, and he's brought a few of us along that have been able to help propel this.
There'll be more.
And there will be more. And that, again, goes back to you. It goes back to some of these other people that have stepped up. And we do invite your comments. We invite your questions. We invite your engagement, because we value that in shaping how we will go forward. And also it satisfies our audience's curiosities. Short of telling you the secret sauce, we will pretty much discuss everything. So let us know what's in your hearts and on your minds.
Well,
and
the secret sauce is actually the rhythmic pulsing action of your heart. It's actually this. Here's the trick, and here's the kind of the irony of cold nuclear fusion is that, you know, everyone's running around, getting up in the morning, going to work to do nuclear fusion and working on their reactors. But when they get up in the morning and they take a shower or whatever they're doing and they look in the mirror, they're actually looking at themselves as they don't know it. But you're actually a nuclear fusion reactor right now. Like your heartbeat, the blood pumping, the brain thoughts that you're having, like everything about you is an electrical nuclear fusion reactor. You just don't know it. And it's once you trigger the nuclear fusion reaction, it just keeps going. It's like life. It's like I'm beating, I'm going, I'm beating, I'm going. And then that's it.
Okay, so this is the question that follows that.
Sure. Let me finish this off.
Yeah, it might be a little cheesy, it might be a little funny, and it might be, who knows, maybe a scientific question.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about this. A little power in creates a massive output energy.
Yep.
If you were to fall in love, does your heart have over unity?
Ooh. Well, there is a special drive when you're in love that you can't really equate or even put on a scale. It's like almost an infinite kind of energy, right? When you're in love with someone, like really in love.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's not on the script. I just wanted to know because it popped into my head. I think it's a really good question.
Well, and here's a great thing about love. Like, if you're in love with someone and you have true love for the people around you, even different cultures and your neighborhood, everyone wants to hang out with you. Everyone wants to come over and bake cookies with you. Everyone wants to have dinner with you. Everyone wants to listen to you. If you have love, you're a creational being of like expansion and energy growth. Like if you have those characteristics, you can create a world basically that is utopic in a sense. So don't lock the doors. You don't need to lock the doors. Don't be afraid of everyone. Like it's like you're growing this fusion love expansion of like possibilities.
Yeah. So heart, aura, pheromones.
Well, that helps.
Well, yeah. I remember love is a little bit also clinical and chemical too.
Well, I mean, think about it. Like if you have a gravitational well, like the Arc Reactor is pulsing and it's pulling in electrons. Okay, well, there's fundamental forces that are pulling the electrons, electrostatic and magnetic, because those are the only field lines that can grab an electron and pull it in. If you're a woman or even a man and you're attracted to somebody, your body naturally has these mechanisms to draw the thing that you're interested in harder in, right? Like pheromones, you don't really even notice it, but you're attracted to them just because of the pheromones. Like a bee being attracted to a flower. Mm-hmm. Mother Nature has it all figured out, and we just need to learn how to control the universe and perpetually create the fusion love, which is actually in the speech of the wedding too, which was basically when, I wish I had it in front of me, but the rings that they had for the wedding were that they were infinity Mobius spheres of stability and love. And when you're in an orbit that is stabilized with a gravitational flux and all that stuff, you can create whatever you want. You can make, it's kind of taboo to say it, but you can make your own Garden of Eden with nuclear fusion.
So is love intermodal?
Yes, you can make it intermodal, which we're going to do.
I did that on purpose.
That was a good one. Okay,
well, let's take a wrap on this. again, thanks everybody. We really appreciate it. We've had a good time again today. As you can see, the drinks were good. The conversation's been fun. We hope you enjoyed it. And we're certainly going to look forward to seeing you again come season 3. Do you have anything in closing, sir?
All I can tell you guys is that fusion is love and love is fusion. You don't have to force it. It just happens. And when you accept that and get behind that, our civilization can accomplish anything together. China, Russia, Ukraine, France, Germany, every single
Iran,
country,
North Korea,
even them, they can come along for the journey. And as long as we are under the understanding of love, of the respect of the nuclear fusion events, which is Mother Nature's processes, we can pass the test. And I'm going to say this, which is going to be a little weird, but I'm just going to say it because we're on this topic, is that we have one giant test to accomplish here on Mother Earth, one, which is all the different cultures, all the different races, all the different peoples. Our job is to somehow join us all together in a beacon of pulsing love, of understanding for each other's cultures, religions. And if we can make the science the baseline unit of understanding of like, okay, nuclear fusion does this, and oh my goodness, it branches out into even our religion and our cultures, we can now become a planet of love. When we hit that point, then the rest of the universe will go, oh, they're ready to join up.
Yeah,
that's as far as I'm going to say.
Okay, so I'm going to add one more thing before we close. So I flew up here yesterday, and I had to pick a movie for what I wanted to watch. So I looked scrolling through Netflix, and I found the Cloverdale Paradox.
I've never seen that.
You might want to check that out because it's a single source of power for all cultures, and it's like a space station with a big particle accelerator that they're trying to test fire, and it takes like 2 years.
Out of here.
And it's made in 2018, so it's fairly modern. But then of course I'm going to be giving away too much of the movie, but they throw the switch and finally they're running out of time. They do it multiple times. They're on like try 47 or something like that, and it clicks and it works, and they get this over unity that they were looking for, and they report it, and all of a sudden, bam, they're off into some other place that all of a sudden the Earth is gone.
Oh my God!
And so, and if I give too much away, it's kind of it's an okay movie.
Well, and here's where science fiction actually kind of gets super close to real life.
Yeah, but I wanted to make the point that the world was waiting for this. That the energy had become such an issue on Earth that the movie was centering on. Could they get this to work? And they turned it into kind of a science fiction, semi-horror flick, but there's still, the point was underlying, right? So this was kind of a view. And if you wanted to just let Hollywood kind of steer your imagination a little bit of what this could look like, although we're going to do it with less, we don't need a giant particle accelerator in space. I think we can do it on a tabletop, correct?
Well, and that's... Man, that is wild that you were watching that last, when you flew up, and how perfectly analogous that is to like what we're doing here. And just to add on to that point, when I flew up from Atlanta, which was like almost a 5.5 hour flight, I did the same thing too. I was like, let's look through movies on, Alaska Airlines. What are they? And I stumbled across The Abyss, which is a really old James Cameron movie, right?
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys seen it, but, and I was like, I'm just going to watch that because that's an old time relic, and, I got nothing else to do. And I'm watching it, and the story is about, a people that are on a oil rig that are basically family. And then this military group comes in about this nuclear submarine that crashed, and they're like family, but they're military, and they're really rigid and angry and hateful. And to watch them battle over the good versus evil of like nuclear weapons, which is the sub that crashed. And then there's an entity that comes in and like, tries to help out too, but is misunderstood. I'm telling you what, I haven't cried in a long time, but when I watched that on the plane, I was trying to hold back tears. And even the guy next to me was like, bro, come on. hold together over there. So it just really hit home real hard for me.
All right. Well, thanks again, everybody. I think we've said goodbye twice. We'll just shorten this one up to say
Let's
thanks.
just keep going, man.
Because we could probably spend 2 hours on an episode, but we got to close it
Well,
up.
maybe we should try to do that sometimes, do a 2-hour podcast and see how that goes. I don't know.
You know what? Let's get a panel and bring in Jason and or Brighton or all of them, and we can all just sit in here, and that thing would go 2 hours pretty easy.
As long as we had a buzzer in the middle for like The Price is Right or something.
No, I think the more important thing is as long as we had enough glasses.
Yeah, that's true.
All right. Thanks again, everybody. Have a good rest of your week, and we're going to keep in touch. And
we'll see you guys in season 3. Thanks for coming along.
Take care.